Most people have been taught to save their money in an offset account, hopefully try and pay extra towards their mortgages to go and pay it off. But I'm going to show you in this video how you can not only turn bad debt into good debt, reduce your taxable income, and also pay off your home loan in less than 15 years. And that's exactly what I'm going to share in this video. So if you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because I talk about real estate, personal development, and all things financial freedom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into my whiteboard, show you an example so you know the numbers, you can follow along, and I'm going to break it down really simply for you. Because once you understand how this works, I'm going to break down towards the end of this video an advanced strategy of how some wealthy clients are using this strategy to pay off their loans but also retire early. So without further ado, let's dive in. So let's start with exactly what is debt recycling. Now, what traditionally people have is a home that they live in, and this is their family home. And then what they have is some debt attached to it, which in this case, for this example, we've got $1.2 million value, $800,000 in debt. Now, Robert Kiyosaki came out and was very famous for saying that your house is not an asset, it's a liability. The reason he said that was because you have to go ahead and pay down this loan. So it takes money out of your pocket, which is the opposite of what an asset should be, which is put cash flow into your pocket. Now, not only that, but here in Australia at least, this debt here is not tax deductible, which means you can't say I'm paying towards this loan, I'm paying my interest repayments, and you're going to deduct that as a tax deduction when it comes time for the ATO to look at it. They'll say because you live in this home, that's just a cost you have to bear. And unfortunately, a lot of people get stuck in this situation, but there is a concept called debt recycling. That's where you can turn non-tax deductible debt into tax deductible debt. So imagine living in this house, knowing that this debt is technically bad debt, but I can turn this into good debt. And you do this over time. So I'm going to show you exactly what the steps look like. So in this example, what we have is we've got both equity and we also have cash. So let's explore what the cash option looks like right now, because a lot of people get told you put this in an offset account, and what you're going to do is you're going to be able to reduce your repayments, or you're going to start hitting the principal a lot harder, which means you can pay off your house a couple of years earlier. Now, while this seems like a very good strategy, it's pretty simple, I want to show you something that is actually working with wealthy clients. So what you could do is most people, again, keep their cash in offset. And then what happens is while that cash is in the offset account, you're like, okay, I want to buy an investment property because I watch Ravi's videos. And I also know that based on everything we know about the currency, I need to attach my dollars to hard assets to be able to retire on my own terms. So what you do is you go, oh, well, I've already got $200,000 here. Let me go and buy IP1, which is investment property 1. Now, at a very high level, this is all looking pretty good, but you're here to understand what the wealthy are doing. The better way to do this would be in step 1, you would use the 200K, but instead of going and purchasing a new property with that, you would actually go to pay down the debt. So the $800,000 worth of debt reduced by $200,000 means debt is now $600,000. But why, Ravi? Why would you do that? Because now I don't have the money there to go and buy my investment property. Well, that's where step 2 comes in. And step 2 is now saying that your principal place of residence has debt of $600,000, but it's worth $1.2 million. So I've still got the equity that I can extract from here of $200,000, which again is what I paid in, but now I'm going to establish it separately. So you have loan 1 here, which would be attached to the principal place of residence. And now you have loan 2, which is actually for $200,000, and that's acting separately to go towards your investment properties. So here, this would then be classified as bad debt, but now we've turned this 200K into good debt. So in this case, what will happen is you go ahead and use this to now purchase your first investment property. So just summarizing here, instead of just using straight cash that we have in the bank to purchase our investment property, what we're going to do is use the 200K, pay it towards the principal place of residence debt, and then we're going to go to the broker and say, actually, I want to set up 2 separate loans. So you're going to have one side and then you're going to have the other side. First side is the PPOR debt, and that again is bad debt, no tax deductibility. However, this new side, which is the $200,000, you can now go and say, I'm using it for the purpose of investing, which means now this debt here is tax deductible. So again, why do we do this? Principal place of residence debt is not tax deductible. Investment property debt is, however, tax deductible. And it's for the purpose of what you use that debt, not where it comes from. So a lot of people get this wrong as well, is that, oh, well, because that debt is attached to my house and I live in the house, therefore it means it's non-tax deductible debt. That's incorrect, because it's not about where it's coming from, it's about where it's going. And so if the purpose of that loan or that equity line of credit is going towards an investment, well, then it is tax deductible. So here we go and look at the numbers. So on $200,000, if it's technically sitting in our principal place of residence, that means we're paying $11,000 worth of interest on that debt. Assuming the interest rate is 5.5%, that means that currently it's not claimed as an expense, but if we go and set it up the right way in step 2, now we can claim it as an expense. And what that means is, at a very high level, if your income is $100,000, I'm now claiming that I've made losses on paper of $11,000 because I've got that debt and I'm purchasing an investment property. That means the ATO is going to tax me on $100,000 minus $11,000 being $89,000. So you're starting to get some sort of benefit there with the tax system. But this still relies you on using some of that cash or that equity to go and buy an investment property. If you're in the mindset of, I don't want debt, I just want to get to the finish line, you got to ask yourself, what is the finish line? Is it just a house paid off and then you rely on the pension? Well, think about everyone that's in that position right now. And times have been a lot easier, and I would go on to argue it's going to become harder. So for people that have a house paid off and they're relying on the pension, do you think they're going on nice holidays? Do you think they're going out to nice restaurants? Do you think they're living their best life? I don't think so. I think that's because inflation's absolutely eroding our currency and things are just more expensive. So do you want to be in that same position, if not worse, come 20, 30, 40 years from now? I don't think so. So you have to be investing. You cannot save your way to retirement. That should be obvious by now. But if you're new to this channel, my name is Ravi and I invest in property. But I've been making YouTube videos for the better part of 5 years and been an investor for about 12 years. And one thing I can tell you now is everyone that's saved compared to everyone that invested over those last 12 years, there has been a stark difference between which choices they made and what the results are now. I can tell you now, I'm so glad I invested money instead of just saving worthless dollars in my bank account. Now, you do want an emergency fund, but you need to be going out and investing. Now, let's talk about the advanced strategy. This is where we're starting to look beyond just, I've got an investment property and that's all well and good, I can now retire. No, what we want to do is see how can we actually scale this up to be able to go and be work optional or be able to retire on our own terms. Now, we know that the value of this property will continue going up and we can extract more equity. So assuming the value of your place goes up by $120,000, what you could do is you could extract that equity and buy a $650,000 home. Now what you're getting is not only tax benefits, but you're also getting the growth of that property. And eventually that property will turn positive cash flow and start giving you rental income every single week. So if that's what you could do with one property, what could you do later? Well, you create a system like this. And this is exactly what we help clients with, is you go and have your principal place of residence, so you have your family home. If you're not rent investing and you've already got this, you've held it for a few years, you've got equity in there, you could then go out there, purchase the properties. Of course, they've got to be in the right locations with the right growth metrics assisting. And now what you're doing is you're going to go and get the tax benefits, you're going to get the growth, and now you're going to get passive income. And guess what you can do with that passive income? Sure, you can go out there and retire early, or what you could do is use the extra cash flow to pay down the debt that you have on your principal place of residence. So not only are you now reducing the non-tax deductible debt being in your principal place of residence, you're now attaching it to all of these homes here, and these homes are going to give you the cash flow to go and pay off the bad debt anyway. And that effectively means that all of the debt that sits in here will now be replaced with tax deductible debt. And now you've got assets there as well that are going to allow you to retire a lot earlier. So if you want to go out there and do this properly, you would be able to go out and pay off your home in 15 years, but there are key things that you need to pay attention to. If you haven't listened to anything I've said in this video, in order for this to happen, you need the right structures in place, you need the right loans, and how the loans are structured is going to dictate how it's tax deductible and not. And again, I'm telling you, most brokers don't know how to do it properly, especially when you're getting involved with trusts and whatnot. And then you have assets. If you aren't purchasing the right property, none of this will work for you. You're taking on more debt to buy dog shit assets that you think are assets, but not really. And you're not actually putting in the research and the time to be able to do it. If you don't have that, that's why I have links in the description box below. I run one of the fastest growing buyers agencies. We have over 50 full-time staff. We purchase anywhere between 20 and 25 properties across all of Australia for wealthy clients. And those clients, some of them didn't start wealthy. They started with 80, 90, 100K in terms of their savings, and they've just got median incomes, but now are looking at stacking at 4, 5, 6 investment properties. So if you want help with that, I'm gonna leave a link in the description box below. If you understand the strategy and you're like, I can do this myself, I can find the right assets, well, you still need to structure your loans properly. So you need to look at refinancing your principal place of residence, setting it up the right way. I'll leave a link in the description box below to Refine Loans, who can help you with all of that stuff too. If you have enjoyed this video, smash that like button. And if you want to know how you can unlock unlimited borrowing capacity, definitely go check out this video. It's a whiteboard video, and boy, did I enjoy making that video. So definitely go check it out. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.